Now, the comment section on my channel, it's just amazing to hear from everybody that, I get to hear your experiences. We share so much in common. And let me tell you something, if you're new to this channel, the comment section of my videos is where it's at. Now, I've had people say, oh, the comment section on this channel is sunny back in my day, And yeah, there's a lot of us, old guys. But we're old guys with a lot of wisdom and a lot of experience and a lot of shared experience. Now, it's 5 o'clock in the morning, so if you're wondering why I'm whispering, one, because I just woke up, two, because the family is still sleeping, and three, because I want to. That's the beauty of having your own channel. You can do it the way you want to. And I am very thankful for everybody that tunes in. Thank you very much. Now, something just struck me, and I was in bed. It was a little bit before 5 a.m. And I was reading one of the comments. And, I'm not going to quote exactly because I just read it and, it's there. But, somebody in the comments of my, retirement, one of my retirement videos, he said he was 52 years old. He worked out 5 days a week. He was in the same shape as he was in his 30s. And he plays for thousands of people every week. Despite all of that, the next day after he plays a gig, he is just riddled with aches and pains. And man, this really, it hit me, and it hit me hard because, I've moved down to Florida now, and after 30 years in Nashville, and, the last 2 or 3 years in Nashville, just being a weekend warrior. But man, before that, I was playing, when I got off the road, I got a gig at B.B. King's playing in the house band. We were down there playing 4 nights a week, just off Broadway and doing, I think it was 3 or 4 shows a night. And man, and before that, I was on the road playing, what was it, like 135 or 40 shows a year, gone on the road 230 some days or something like that. Man, the pain that you feel. First of all, what amazed me about the post, I am not in the same shape that I was in my 30s. I'm not in the same shape that I was in my 40s. I probably, in some ways, I'm in better shape now than I was when I was on the road. Definitely am in better shape because, that lifestyle was catching up with me really bad. But, this guy is in top shape as he describes it. Of course, I don't have any way of knowing that's fact, but, I'll take him at heart. And the fact that he works out like that and he's in that shape, that much shape, but the next day, the physical toll that playing music takes on your body. And that's because, the music takes over. When you're on stage and the audience is spurring you on, you're not thinking about the next day. You're not thinking about the pain you're going to feel. And I've always said this, there is no workout on earth that can prepare you for being on stage. You can, cardio, you need to be able to do to be able to sing. So, I've always, tried to do some form of cardio. And as you get older, it's probably walking. But, there was a time where I would get up every morning and jog. And, that was just what I kind of always fell back on. It was just something I could just put on my sneakers and hit the road. I'd maybe even party all night, play a gig, party all night, get, 6 hours of sleep, and I'd get up in the morning and I'd go jog. So, I'm no stranger with, the effort, the trying to stay in shape. And, as we get older, we slow down. I'm 57 now. But man, it took me back reading his comments of how riddled I would be the next day. I would play a gig, and depending on the gig and how it went, sometimes it would greatly depend on the other people on the gig. If not everybody is pulling their weight, if you've got dead weight on stage, it seems like you have to compensate for the dead weight. And I've had gigs where people just show up that just are not qualified for the gig. And man, it made the gig so hard. Even if they're like not an integral part of the show, maybe they're just, a side horn player or something, and they're not pulling their weight. It just seemed like I had to work twice as hard. And a situation like that, I remember just the next day just being riddled, getting up in the morning and, going from standing upright to, walking like Mr. Burns on The Simpsons, hunched over and I've, somebody recommended to me, I think it was magnesium. And I did find that, certain supplements can help you. I'm not a doctor, so don't take my medical advice at all. I'm not giving any. But, I found that, certain supplements could help. And maybe some pain relief, in the form of, I don't know, whatever you take. For me, I just regular aspirin. I'll take one regular aspirin if I'm really in a lot of pain. But man, it really surprised me to read. I've always thought, well, man, I'm not in the greatest shape. Survived the 80s and the 90s and the beginnings of the 2000s and the 2010s and the 2020s and midway through the 2020s, still gigging. But man, and the same thing would be when I was on the road in my 40s. Man, we were keeping a schedule that would have kicked a 20-year-old's butt. And man, sometimes I would just think, man, I don't want to die on this bus. I don't want to die with these people. I don't feel like, you want to be surrounded by people that you love and people that love you. And, if you're on the road, you're not with your family. And, I want to be surrounded by family. If it's my last days, that's what I wanted to do. But, when you're pushing your body that much and you're not getting enough sleep and you're drinking too much or eating too much or any number of things, it takes a toll on your body. But reading that comment and here it is from a guy who's kept himself in tip-top shape, and it sounds like from his description that he sings and that hitting those big power notes on Journey and Def Leppard and things like that. he described it. He goes, it's getting harder to do it. And, he was describing, having, being, walking away, hitting the point where he would need to walk away from it. And man, it took me back. I could almost feel how I would feel after a 4-set gig. And the pain, just like I said, it's kind of like, if you were drinking and got in a barroom fight, you're not feeling the pain because you're drunk and you're in the heat of the moment. But man, you're going to be wrecked the next day. And it's the same thing for playing gigs. I would be out there and, you've got a 7 to 8 to 9 pound weight, on you, and you're holding it for 4 hours. And then, everybody's in the band is, if you're, doing what I was doing, which is playing R&B and dance music, you start seeing the front line of the band. They're all doing steps. And so, well, I'll do a couple steps and, and oh, it's time for my solo. And I'll maybe kind of step out there and then, do your solo. And you're just using movements that, no matter what kind of workout you're doing, you're pushing yourself. Because, most guys don't spend 4 hours in the gym. We don't have time for that, and so you're spending an hour, maybe tops, in the gym, maybe 2 hours tops. But meanwhile, you're going to go play a gig with a 8-pound weight around your neck, and you're going to dance, sing, and move and play for 4 hours straight. So, man, I don't really miss it right now. I'm thankful to have this channel where I can share my knowledge and share my experiences and hear from you guys out there. And I want to hear from the young guys too. I like hearing from guys like me, but there's a range. There's guys older than me that have now, they're bedroom guitar players and are home, sit on their couch. And then there's the guys still doing it. And then there's the guys a little bit younger than me that are grinding. And then there's guys watching my channel that might be in the thick of it, playing, Broadway in Nashville or being on the road. Guys like Tim Avon, who he's a young guy. He's got plenty of years ahead of him in this business. And it's good to see. It's good to see. He's a good player. And, I like watching his channel from time to time, but sometimes I can't watch it because it just brings back too many memories. It's like, I would see it sometimes in the crew members and people on the road that, had been in the service, and I would see I would notice they've got some PTSD. They've got that thing where, it's, you can just tell. And, for us older guys, we've been through enough and seen enough. And, maybe if you've, put in a lot of hours on the road, there's some PTSD there as well. I'll still, even like my oldies gig and stuff like that. I had a dream the other day that I was back on the oldies gig, and, we did fly dates and, hotels and, it was relatively easy. I know I've talked about on this channel the two types of, road gigs, the fly dates, and then bus gigs. And, if I were to do one again, I could do a handful of fly dates. That wouldn't be as bad, although the traveling in the airports, man, I get why having a tour bus, for some is more enjoyable. But man, I like having my own hotel room. And my old boss, Gary Lewis, he said, look, you guys are all grown men. Nobody should have to share a room. And man, I was like so appreciative of that because, I'm one of those people that just needs his own time to just be quiet and, come down from the gig, come down from maybe, between sound check and the show, being able to go back to the room and, take a 10-minute nap and take a shower and, and all that. Just have your own space. That's one of the things about being on the road. You just don't have your own space. You're constantly around people, and I'm one of those people that I need my quiet time. I can be David Lee Roth, all day, but man, at some point, man, I just need to shut it down and just be quiet, and be introspective, and think about what's going on and recharge the batteries. But the older you get, man, no matter what you do, realize this. This was a guy that was 52 years old, but he was in the same shape he was in his 30s. Man, I envy that. I wish I was in the shape that I was in my 30s, but, no matter what you do, time and age will creep up on you and shut you down.